Last month, how many of you know how much money we spent on advertising in the month of March? Yeah. Guesses? Yeah, us. 200 what? 240-ish was the gross. Net, if you look at our net advertising spend, anybody know that? We got $240,000 in media for about $60,000. So, I know, how did you guys do that? How are you so awesome? How do you make so much money? Just kidding. We did $1.05 million in revenue, and a massive part of that has been the advertising team and Chris's leadership and how this guy is setting up our media, setting up our advertising. A lot of it comes down to messaging. How many ads do you put out per week, do you think? You might talk about it in the presentation, but it's significant.
Yeah, probably 12 to 20, around there.
12 to 20 a week. So the training they're going to go into right now, you know, there's fundamentals in like how to buy media, how to write ads, and then there's nuances on top of that. So this is going to be a very nuanced training. So how we're going to do it is they have some wonderful content they're going to go through. Take your questions, write your questions down on a notebook. Hold your notebook in the air real fast like you just don't care. Everybody should have a notebook. Write your questions down as we're going through it, and then we're going to spend some time at the end going into some question and answer. If you ask questions during the presentation, they will probably answer it, but they'll run out of time and they won't get to the goodies at the end. So with that said, I want you to stand up, give a round of applause to our fearless leader, Chris Evans. Take it away.
Appreciate it. Give a round of applause for Ashton. Yeah. So you guys know who Ashton is? He's our senior media buyer. He's come in and just kicked total ass. He's a great asset to the team. So I'm really excited to have him presenting with me today. This is kind of demonstration of some of the things I was talking about yesterday, raising up the next generation, the next tier, to be able to take over the things that we're doing. So this is a demonstration of what we were talking about. Always pushing our people to be their best, right? All right, so what we're talking about today is $1 Million a Month principles, tactics, and frameworks. I want everybody to close your eyes. I won't do anything weird to you, I promise.
I might.
Close your eyes. Molly, see your eyes are open. Okay. Ben, close your eyes. All right. I want to ask you, hands up. Okay? No peeking. No peeking. Hands up if you know exactly what your goals are for the month. Okay? Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. You know exactly how many leads you need. Keep your hands up if you know. Exactly how many apps. How many clients. Okay, keep your hands up if you know that. Mike, why are your eyes open, dude? I will tell you when to open your eyes. Keep your hands up if you know this for next month. If you know how many clicks, leads, apps, clients you need to hit your goals for next month. Are you seeing this, Ashton? Mm-hmm. Carrie has her eyes open. All right, keep your hands up if you know for the quarter. All right, everybody open your eyes. So what would percentage-wise would you say people kept their hands up?
Oh, through the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Maybe 5%.
Maybe 5%. What about for next month?
Probably about 40%, 30%.
I'd say probably 20%. So this is massive. My goal today is for you guys to think like I think. That's what I want to try to transfer my thought processes for you guys. This is how I think. I'm always looking at today, this week, this month, next month, the month after that. I'm always looking at where we are going as a company, what I need to be doing today to get us there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. The torque in your marketing is having the right thinking processes. So many people are so consumed about the tactic. Dude, what is the tactic? What is the miracle thing that's going to get me there right now? Right, that's surface level. But if you think correctly, that's the deep stuff. That's where you get longevity. That's where you're able to adapt and deal with the issues and the problems that are going to come when you're trying to hit $1 million a month or $500,000 a month or $200,000 or $100,000, wherever it is that you want to go. Make sense? Yeah. So I need your buy-in on this because I know a lot of people, they want the tactics. They want like the next sexy trick. We'll give you some tactical stuff here, but I really want to emphasize how important the principles are. So what we're going to talk about today is inverted mental modeling. Okay? Inverted mental modeling, awareness, the CLAP framework, feedback loops, levers, and buckets. And then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So you guys have to write your questions down as we go. We got a typo on there. Sloan, that was your fault, man. So I want you guys to, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then I want you to clap. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I like that. That's nice. All right. So we're going to piggyback a little bit on the Parthenon stuff that we were talking about yesterday. Right? This is getting you into a place where you're going from stilts to Parthenon. Okay? Going to give you frameworks to protect and enhance what you're currently doing. So the key to scaling your business is controlling your revenue. That only comes through controlling yourself. It only comes through controlling yourself. Again, tactics, they're seasonal. Tactics come and they go. Okay? If your foundation isn't built on the right thinking processes, you will be screwed, I guarantee it. You will be a shooting star. And so I want you to have longevity. I want you not only to survive the coming issues when Facebook changes things, but I want you to thrive because of how you think, how you deal with the issues, how you deal with the problems. So again, it's Parthenon versus house built on stilts. Before we start, 3 things that you need to win. Write these down. The 3 things you need to win: adaptability, accuracy, and data is greater than emotion. Adaptability, accuracy, data is greater than emotion. Have any of you guys invested in the stock market? You know, you can't be an investor in the stock market and be emotional. You will lose everything. And I look at it the same way in advertising. You cannot be emotional in advertising because you are an investor. Write this down. As an advertiser, you are an investor. You are an investor. So this is where the inverted mental model comes into place. This is how I think. If you plan ahead, you know, in investing, like in the market, it's called a stop loss. You guys know what a stop loss is? Stop loss is before you go into an investment, you know when your cutoff point is. When a stock is going down, it's declining, you know when you're going to get out of that stock, right? You're planning ahead, you're thinking ahead. And so a lot of people I see in the conversations, the connections, I see what you guys are doing in your businesses. You are not planning ahead. You're not looking at, okay, if my lead is this much, I need to get out, I need to change, I need to be flexible, I need to adjust, right? And that's a major issue. That's where you will get stuck, and you will be in January. Kevin, remember we were having this conversation the other day where he went into something with his ads, and he didn't have a plan going into it. Would you agree with that? He didn't have a stop loss. So if you're in that place, and what happens? What happens? You get emotional, right? Especially when you're putting your money on the line and it's not working. What do? You panic. You freak out. Your emotions end up controlling you versus you controlling your emotions. Make sense? Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So again, this is long-term thinking. It's unemotional thinking, which is, I'm pretty good at that naturally. So hopefully I can give you some of these frameworks that if you are a really emotional person and you lean to that side, then this will help you greatly. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So again, did you guys write this down? Tactics are seasonal, and they are surface level. The principles, the frameworks, how you think will last forever. So, the inverted mental model, this is what I do. This is how to get and keep clarity, daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay? Can I get a few volunteers? You 3, actually you 4, come up here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. You stand here, turn around. You stand there. Tori with a Y. Yeah. I love that shirt. Spread out a little bit. Yeah, you come down here, Tori. So this is how I think, right? This is where you guys are over here in your business. Okay? So I'm looking down there. I'm like, inverted mental model basically is I'm coming down here. I'm saying, okay, if my goal is $100,000 a month, right? I start here. So an inverted mental model is starting with the end in mind, right? If this is the end for me, my initial tier, my initial goal, I'm starting down here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So just stay here. Where a lot of you, you're down here. This is probably about as far as you get. You're not looking down there, right? You're like in the clowns, you're in the weeds, you have other issues, you haven't backed out, so you guys are just stuck. Versus if you zoom out, and this is zooming out is coming down here as a CEO, the head of your marketing, and coming into the future at $100,000 a month, or 150, or 250, or 500, whatever it might be for you, okay? So for me to accomplish X, what's your goal? Just throw out a goal.
This month, 100,000.
100,000. For me to accomplish 100,000, what must be true? This is inverted mental model thinking. What must be true for me to accomplish that? You start with the end, not the beginning, okay? So that might be, okay, first, I need how many clients? 20 clients, okay? So for me to get 20 clients, what else must be true? Okay, how many apps do I need? Okay, and for apps, how many leads do I need to get 80 apps? Okay. And then how many clicks do I need? Well, I mean, you can't build a business on a lot, right? You need to be specific. Because what happens if you don't know what a lot is and you get stuck? You have no clear target, right? You don't have the end in mind. Make sense? Yeah. Does this give you guys a visual, a picture? Yes? Yeah. Okay. You guys can sit down.
Well, 1,500 clicks.
No, that's not true. All right. So basically, with inverted mental modeling, when you look ahead, then you're able to get clarity on what is needed, what must be true for me to hit my goal. And at that point, you guys have probably heard me talk about this, but it's facing the monsters. What are the problems that are going to present themselves to me. If $100,000, that's what I need, that's my goal, 200 apps, it must be true that I get 200 apps to get 20 clients, for example. How many leads, how many clicks? What are the potential problems, barriers, as it relates to this, will keep me from getting here when I go back and I'm actually putting things into action to there? And you guys write that down. Right? Because if you go into it and you know what the problems are, what happens? Prepared? Now you know, so you can remove the emotion. It's not a surprise, it's not a shock. Because you're already walking through the process. You are mentally visualizing what's coming. And this is what I do. This is what you need to do. So now you know what the potential problems are, and if you don't know, then you can get with the team, you can put in the group. Guys, this is where I'm going. These are the goals, this is what I have to hit. What am I missing here? These are the problems that I think I'm gonna face. Because you do have to have discipline with this. All right, some of you are gonna go crazy and like, what if Facebook shuts down? Those aren't the kind of problems I'm talking about. What if Trump gets reelected? What if Beto gets elected? You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm talking about as it relates to this, okay? Now, when you have clarity on that, then you are able to build in margin. Margin. Write margin down. You are able to hedge. Ask my guys how much I talk to them about this. Again, it's principles that are in the investing world that we've taken into advertising. So what I mean by that, if my best case scenario to hit $100,000 a month, it's $200,000, like that's my ceiling. I have no margin, right? So I probably need to aim for 250 apps or 300 apps. Because worst case scenario is what I want to base everything on in every part of this sequence. Worst case scenario. Anything to add to this?
No, I mean, I think it's Murphy's Law. Everyone know what Murphy's Law is? Anything that can happen most likely will happen, right? It's just constantly expecting that. So whatever your goal is, if my goal is 10, I'm probably upping it about 15%. And if I'm not hitting that 15% goal, something's wrong. Because that's what I'm going to base my ad spend off. That's what I'm going to base my KPIs off of. So if you're not hitting those higher goals, something's wrong and you can need to adapt. If you're always doing that, always trying to stay 15% ahead, you're never really going to fall behind, even if you have a bad day, because bad days will happen. Just this week, we had 2 ad accounts went into full review. And we have a tier 2 managing partner at Facebook. But it's just things will happen. So if you're always planning ahead 15% every single day, you're going to be a lot more successful every month than you think you might.
Yep, absolutely. And so, our bottom is probably way higher than most people. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes. Because I don't want to be too close to the edge. Like, we're just getting in by just like a razor hair. Right? So you have to build margin, you have to have gap. So that worst case scenario, like you hit your worst case numbers, you are going to hit your goals. You're going to get the revenue that you want. Makes sense? Yes. Is this helping? Yes. Okay. All right, so one of the principles and concepts that I want you guys to really get is the concept of cold, warm, and hot. Cold, warm, and hot. How many prospects do I have? Ask this of yourself. How many prospects do I have in each stage? Cold, warm, hot. And you see what I've done here is, I'm a visual person. This is how I think about things. Is what ends up happening is we're not doing a good enough job because we don't have really great goals a great plan for those goals. We're not leveraging inverted model thinking. We're not looking at the end. We're not looking 30 days down the road, 45, 60 days down the road. Is this hot little red dot basically is, those are the people who, they know you, they like you, they trust you. Their awareness level is very high for what you have to offer. So the issue that you are faced with, and you are experiencing this, and hopefully this is a visual for you guys, is you are trying to just as much as possible pull from that little red dot, and you are exhausting that red dot. Make sense? Yeah. What you're not doing is taking people from cold to warm and then filling up the hot. That's what we do consistently, and it's super easy. Very easy. We'll talk about in a little bit. So, in each of these, how many points of contacts do I have? Right? How many people do I have in these buckets? Go to the next slide. That's a bucket. 2 buckets. I made those buckets myself.
You paid a lot for these buckets.
What?
You paid a lot for these slides.
Yeah. So if you start to think of your business, your marketing, your advertising this way, what happens if you pour out the hot bucket? It's empty. I mean, it's brilliant, right? But it's simple. And if it's simple, then it's doable. Yes? 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 So if you look at this, the cold, warm, hot, you think about your buckets right now in your business. How attentive are you in getting in front of a cold audience? People who don't know you, they don't really have much awareness about you, because on average it takes 6, 8, 12 contacts. High ticket probably is higher before someone's willing to hand you a credit card. So many of you, you're like, I just don't know why I'm not getting asked. I don't know what's going on. It's because you're not respecting this principle. That's what is going on. You are not going out and talking to a cold audience who's never heard of you before, moving them to warm, building relationship, building rapport, and then to hot, where you are making offers. Okay? Make sense? Yeah. Okay. Anything to add to this?
No, I mean, it's kind of probably simply displayed. How many of you watched at least 2 pieces of content with us before becoming a client? 3? Podcasts, webinars, emails. 4, 5, 10 plus. Look around. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing is, I would say, you guys have probably had, I would say, if I was shooting in the dark, 50 contacts at least with our brand before you became clients. 50 contacts. Email, impressions, Facebook group, like our brand has been in front of you, whether it's been a podcast or just a live stream or the memos, things in the group, testimonials that other people have put on Facebook. And so we are constantly aware of what is going on, what we're doing in our marketing to build up. All right, so let's talk about the awareness framework. The awareness framework. The awareness framework gives you the ability to adjust daily, weekly, and monthly. Right? So to fill your buckets correctly, you have to be aware of what's going on in your business. You have to be aware of how intentional you are being in moving people from cold to warm to hot. Okay? So here are 8 protective questions for you to stay on course. Again, you have to have awareness of where you are in the process. You've gone down, you have the end in mind, you know the problems, you know the issues, you know what you're going to be faced with. So here are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Question number 1, what makes me happy? This is actually really important, right? Because if you're doing something through this process that is pissing you off, it's irritating you, it's not making you happy, what's going to happen? It's going to destroy your energy, right? Question number 2, what takes my energy away? So running Facebook ads might just destroy your energy. It might just kill you inside slowly. If that's the case, how many people in the world run Facebook ads? A bajillion, right? Writing content. So there's always an angle, there's always a way to get someone else to do the stuff that destroys you. So, and I would highly recommend that you connect with the team on this too. If you're not sure, because sometimes it is healthy just to be pushed. No, dude, you just need to do some Facebook ads. Like, you need to know what's going on, right? Number 3, what gives me energy? What gives you life? What fills you up? What propels you in this whole process? Our first hire was a Facebook ads person. I'm an ads guy. That's my background. But to a point, it just took my energy away. So for me to get momentum, I had to bring someone else in so I could be more strategic and actually building the business CEO, right? Number 4, what do I actually want? So these are awareness questions, because if you're not aware of where you're going, what you want, the process to get there, there are these little snares, these subconscious things that if you're not thinking about, you're not addressing, you're not dealing with, you're not confronting, you're not bringing up to the team, you will be stuck. And so many of you are stuck because you're not aware of these issues. And these are foundational things. If you get these things figured out, all the tactical stuff is way easier than the internal stuff that you're not aware of. Make sense? Yes. This is helping? Yes. Okay. Number 5, do I believe I can accomplish what I want? Do I believe that I can get to $100,000 a month, $500,000 a month? Because if you don't believe that, my friend, you have an issue. I don't care what you do, you will not get there. So how do I get belief? Well, 1, you're in the right environment, you're with the right people. 2, belief comes through clarity. Belief comes through clarity. So what I do, whenever I go into a campaign, whenever I go into a new launch, I take this big thing, $1 million a month, and I just start to break it down to little pieces. So I come down here, and it's, oh, this is like really doable. I just need this many clicks. Okay, if I get that many clicks, that means I can get this many leads. If I get that many leads, right, this many apps, if I get that many apps, based on what I know is true, then I should arrive here. Make sense? Yes. Make sense? Yes. Okay. This is important. Why am I doing this? This is an issue that we had where there's loss of vision. There were times last summer, honestly, that I was like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, this is so hard. And so if you don't have that vision for yourself, the impact, your family, all these things in front of you on a daily basis, when you get to a point where you actually do face the monster, you have an issue, you're going to get stuck. And this isn't even worth it. Like this problem that I'm facing right here, to get to that point, why am I doing this? Whether Facebook shuts your ad account down, how many times does that happen to us? Right? People say that you're a scammer, you're a fake, you're an imposter, you don't know what you're talking about. All these things that are barriers and hindrances to you getting to that point.
Yeah. And on like a practical level to that too, it applies to really everything you're doing in your business. So like even the lead magnet that you're building, why am I actually building this lead magnet? Why am I actually building a group? Like, is it because it's cool? Is it because of what everyone else is doing?
Yeah.
You need to have a practical reason of why you're building what you're building, why you're writing the ad that you're writing. They need to have practical reasons to it. And when you do that, it's going to help a lot with avoiding the shiny pennies and getting your time wasted. And I've spent $500 and nothing's happened. It's because you never really got to the end point and thought back to the beginning of why you're actually doing it.
Make sense? Yes. Okay. So why am I doing this? Number 7, what does it affect if I don't accomplish this? Or who does it affect if I don't accomplish this? Is it my family? Is it me? Is it the people that I want to have an amazing impact on. So here's the thing, when you're down here, you've got the goal. It's not just the revenue goal, but it's the impact goal. It's your family's goals. If I stop right here midway, oh, that dude said I was a scammer on my Facebook ad. People said they hate me and I should go kill myself. And you stop, you're like, oh, well, I can't do this, right? It's going to trigger all kinds of crazy stuff. Who does it affect if you don't just push through? Yes? Yes? Okay. Number 8, am I on pace for my lead and lag indicators? All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So the reason why I'm doing this is I'm just trying to like embed the simplicity of this. So here's what CLAP stands for. It's not the STD. Promise. Clicks, leads, apps, purchases. Clicks, leads, apps, purchases. Clicks, leads, apps, purchases. So if you ever get to a point where you're just confused, you don't feel like you have clarity, you're like, what is going on? Like, Facebook doesn't work, marketing doesn't work, advertising doesn't work, everything that Ben is telling me is a lie. Clicks, leads, apps, purchases. Sequence. Simple. Yes? Yes? And then when you get to a place where some of you guys will be coming soon, we start to put in a few other things there. You know, maybe like front-end products and all that kind of stuff. So these are the things, these are the thinking processes that have really helped us to get to $1 million a month. And so we're going to, there's a reason why that's blank. That is an open loop, my friends. Where we're going to fill in what those are in just a second. Did you guys write this down? Clicks. Clicks. Come on. Apps. Okay. Write this down. Never go into a new month without having predetermined lead and lag goals. It's not enough just to be over here and say, oh, dude, yeah, everybody raise their hand for 100K, so that's what I'm going to raise my hand for. That's my goal. No. Whatever your goal is, I don't care if it's 50, 100, 500, you start here. And then you break down your leads, your clicks, your apps, your purchases. And then what we do is we have those broken down by day as well. So we have our monthly, we have our weekly, and then we have our days. True or false?
True.
Very true. This is going to give you guys tremendous force and power in hitting your goals. So the key to hitting your goals, one, you need to establish those goals. You got to believe those goals are possible. You have to know the progress of accomplishing those goals. And if you break it down to the micro, right, you have the macro, that's at the end. That's what we've talked about with the inverted thinking. Starting with the end in mind, where am I going? What's required to get there? What are all the problems, potential barriers to get there? And then the micro stuff are, what are the things I do every single day that's consistent to get there? Make sense? Yes. Make sense? Yes. Okay. Anything to add?
No.
To succeed, you have to fail fast and fail often and know why you're failing. Feedback loops. This is my other thinking process, principle, concept. Feedback loops. You guys notice like how I ask you for responses? That's a feedback loop. I want to know, I want to gauge the audience. I want to know how you guys are. Everything that we do in marketing and advertising pretty much requires a feedback loop, okay? Now, a feedback loop, which I'll give you a visual in just a second. Initially, you need to have the right expectations. So ask yourself, with your feedback loops, because here's what happens is you guys put something in the market, and then you're over here. You're just like, you're wandering around, right? That's not how it works. You will not be successful that way. So do I have the right expectations about what is required to hit my goals? $100,000, my ads required, my leads required, my clicks. And we break that down monthly, weekly, daily. Do I have the right expectations to get to the end? Yes? Yes? Yes. Okay. What are my goals? What's required to hit those goals? One of the things that I'd probably say I'm fairly good at is asking a lot of questions. One thing that I've noticed, and this is what I look for in hiring media buyers, this is the process that we're going through and bringing people in to join our media buying team, is curiosity. If you want to be effective in advertising, you need to be curious. You have to wonder. You have to ask questions. A lot of you aren't asking yourselves questions. You're not like looking at it from different angles. You're not examining it. Make sense? Okay. So with feedback loops, it gives you the ability to know where you're going, its action and its response. To be successful with feedback loops, you need relentless focus, built-in margin, and feedback loops give you the ability to course correct. This is the biggie. Put a star behind this, beside it, underline it, bold it. Feedback loops give you the ability to course correct. Because like airplanes do not fly straight. Like they're always going off course. They always have to course correct. Right? That's what you have to do in your advertising. So what happens though is a lot of you guys, and a big reason why people aren't successful in advertising is because they don't have the inverted thinking, they don't have the awareness, they don't have the right expectations. They're going to a foggy destination at best. If something knocks them off, right? And they're going over here, and then before you know it, like they've quit their business and everything's folded. Okay? But if you're continually pinging, you're continually putting things to market to see what the response is, that's a feedback loop, right? When I go to market and I put an ad, like I have an assumption that it's going to work, like I think it's going to work, but my expectation is it's probably not going to work. So if you have the right expectation, what happens? You adjust. You're not going to get emotional when like everybody just hates on your ad or it doesn't perform, right? Because your expectations were so crazy. But if you go into it with very low expectations, hedging, I don't know, this probably won't work, so maybe I'll do 2 ads, 2 different types, just to see. I'll put them to market. See how they work. See how the market responds. Are they going to click it? Are they going to opt in? Make sense? Yes. Make sense? Yes. Okay. So this is kind of the visual that I have. Big problem, big issue, is many of you people, my friends, my colleagues, you guys aren't pinging. You do not have feedback loops. You have to ping daily, weekly, monthly. Right? And I'll show you kind of what we do in just a sec, but what's not measured cannot be managed. Right? When I put something in the market, now I'm measuring. What's the response? Based on the expectations that I set before even launching that ad, that email campaign, that new project, that new promo, whatever it is, I've already got my expectations, I've got my numbers set to where this is great if I hit this, this is terrible if I hit this. Right? I put it to market, so all emotion is removed. Now I put it to market, I ping, and I'm waiting for the response. I'm waiting for the feedback. So that way I'm able to move fast. So that's issue number 1. You guys have no clue what's going on in your business. You have no clue what's going on in your marketing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You have big assumptions, but what happens if you just have assumptions, that's everything that your business is based on, your emotions get involved, and then you quit, you stop. You're like, oh man, this doesn't even work. I just had this conversation with the guy who helps me with my fitness. I send him my numbers every day. The other day, I've been very strict in my eating. I went up 2 pounds, and I am pissed. I'm like, what the F, dude? Like, I'm doing everything right. Send him my numbers. I tell him, like, everything that I'm eating. He's like, dude, you're just retaining water. It's all good. It's cool. Right? So he helped remove my emotion in that situation. So the other thing is having the people in your corner that when you put the thing out there, right, you ping, you have your set expectations, you have your numbers, your data, being aligned with people who you can get with saying, dude, I don't know about this, man. Like, you've got it all there, and especially if you're an emotional person. Is this right? Is this good? I need help. Because what has to happen is you have to build that muscle. You guys follow me? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. So this is how I look at it. The next thing is keeping those numbers in front of you every day. Those numbers are your priority. They are your priority. They are your priority. How many of you guys are looking at this stuff every single day? Alric and Tanner. This will keep you from getting down here. I promise. And when you start to think like this, remove the emotions, have the right expectations, you break it down, then it's just doing the consistent stuff every day. Cool? Yep. 1, 2, 3. So use clap to keep it simple. Adjust daily, weekly, and monthly. Course correct. Things are going to happen. Stuff's going to hit the fan. People are going to hate on you. Facebook ad account's going to get shut down. You know, that's just par. So these are some of our feedback loops. This is what I get every day. So I love data. For our level of business, I'm getting a report on what we're doing with our newsletters, our front ends. I'm looking at daily numbers. I'm looking at weekly numbers. I'm looking at monthly numbers. What's the trends? Are we behind? And in the position where I'm at is I'm trying to train my guys and get them thinking in the framework of hedging. All right, because dude, you know, we see here on the first one, Ashton loves that I screenshotted this one, but this is real. Right, this first one, this is in our Slack. Ashton puts all of our numbers in Slack every morning by 9:30. And so the goal was 26, so the day before, and we only acquired 24. All right, well, that's not going to work. So what do we do to adjust today? Do we need to get an email out? Do we need to launch some new campaigns, some new ads? What do we do? Like, what's our course correction to accomplish the end? Yes? 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 Okay. So obviously for you guys, it'll be a little bit different. We've given templates and stuff that you actually should leverage. So ping daily, weekly, and monthly. Action, effect, right? You take action, you put the campaign to market, you put the ad to market, you put the email to market, you put the live stream to market, the organic post to market, and then wait for the response. How do people engage? Do they connect with it? Do they resonate with it? Are people responding? Right? And if they are, great. Do more of that. It's amazing when things work, we stop doing them. You know how much we've been reusing things that work? If you guys are on our email list, what's worked in the past, we take, freaking recycle it. Across the board. Across the board. So, you guys heard the term ready, aim, fire? A lot of you are ready, not ready, aim, aim, aim. I might be ready. I'm going to aim a little bit more. Webinar, no. Podcast, no. No. Get a target, get with a team if you're not sure what's best for you and where you are, where you're going, the end. Ready, fire, aim. Ready? Okay, I'm prepared, got my ad, I'm just going. This is one of the things that I love about Taylor and why he's so great is he's just like shooting all the time, nonstop. And it's awesome. Some of you guys need to take that on. Just put stuff to market and don't be afraid of what the market says. Like, you want that feedback. You want to fail fast. That is the key. Do you understand that? Yes. Do you understand that? Yes. That is good. No matter what your parents taught you about failure, failure is good, but you want to fail fast. And you want to adjust. You want to course correct. Okay? Is this helping? Yep. Okay. So you should be aware of your numbers every day so that when you do put that thing to market, the response comes back, you're not freaked out because you understand that's the game. That's what happens. That's how you're successful.